no troubles?
No, I had no trouble at all, except from the warden, who, I mean, we expect trouble from anywhere, and he's not one of my men in the first place.
Fair
in fact,
enough.
I don't know how he muscled his way in on the function at all.
Everyone, welcome to Motor on Beat Beat. My name is Alan, and today I'm here to find the final resting place of Arthur Lowe, that wonderful comedy actor from Dad's Army and lots of other things. Very, very surprised when I researched him. Very different man to the one on screen, and I think that makes it interesting. I'm here at Sutton Coldfield Crematorium in Birmingham, and I've put a map on for you. I think it's a nice idea. That's where we're going, look, down there on the left-hand side. He met his wife Joan in 1948, and she was an established actress, and she used to tell people, yes, I'm on £6 a week and Arthur's only on 3. But the roles get reversed later on, you'll see, and you'll see what kind of man he is. The one thing about Arthur was you could get a guy who worked harder. He had this philosophy, whatever the part comes up, I'll take it. He didn't turn anything down. He thought he was the man that should bring the bacon home, and that's the way he looked at it. And that's why he did so many different roles. He was on children's TV, Jack and Ori, he was on films, television, and of course theatre. He loved the theatre, and he was very proud of the fact that he said he played at every single theatre in the country. In fact, later on he works with Sir John Gielgud and Laurence Olivier. He was very proud of that. His son said so. Lovely spot, look. Spin your hand again so you can see the place. There we are. We're heading that way. So let's get on with the story. His agent said there was nobody that was less like a lovey than Arthur. He was a very modest man, and when he wasn't on the screen, he wasn't in front of the camera or the spotlight, he not like nothing else than to be quiet with his family. In fact, in 1968 he bought an old boat and did it up, and that is where the family had the best times. His son Stephen said, we had some beautiful times on that boat as a family, quality time. And I could see it looked appealing. He didn't like the razzmatazz, basically.
19th century steamboat, which he lovingly restored. He called it the Amazon.
He was a genius as a comedy actor, that's what I admired about him. His son Stephen said that. He had the little nuances that made the scene funny, and also the timing. He would do little things, and sometimes when not on camera, to make the scene more interesting. And that's what made him so good. I once spoke to Tony Curtis about that. He was in The Persuaders, and he said the same thing. If it's a boring scene, he's walking down the corridor, he'd pick a flower up and smell it or something to make the scene slightly more humorous and interesting. And of course, he had the same ability. He was a fantastic comedy actor.
My ad was for a car. I was selling a car, and I put my address, and they must have put the address on the wrong ad. Is there something?
I think it's pretty likely,
Mustn't waste the ice.
Don't forget, I've done other characters from Dad's Army if you want to watch them. I did Private Pike, Don't Tell Him Your Name, recently. That was Ian Lavender. And of course, Sargent Wilson, played by the suave John Le Mesurier, and Arnold Ridley, who played Godfrey, who was a very different character in real life, very strong and brave, very much different to the character from Dad's Army. So they're on the channel if you want to see them too. The part that really got him noticed and put him on the box in front of everybody's eyes was a character called Leonard Swindley on Coronation Street. He played that character from the early 1960s to 1966, and that really got him noticed, and in a way that is why, of course, Dad's Army came around. He was now on the radar, wasn't he?
This moment on, we are strictly a cash house. Strictly cash. Would you mind removing the notices from the window? No money refunded, no goods exchanged.
The character of Captain Mainwaring was very much like him. A lot of the crew thought so. And in actual fact, they tried to write the character where they blurred his character and Captain Mainwaring together. He had that natural way of being pompous. And later on in his career, of course, he became the big star, much more than Joan. And he supported her. She wanted to go back to her career as an actress, and he went on small theatre tours with her, just to be with her. When he'd been approached by the Royal Shakespeare Company, could have done a lot bigger productions, but he didn't. He stuck with her, and I think he also refused to do any theatre productions unless his wife was brought into it with him. He was a very romantic guy, very nice. Also got a small parts in TV. In fact, she starred in one of the episodes of Dad's Army. He did a lot to try and get her working again. It's very nice of him to do that. He had a lot of health issues. He died at only 66. And one of them was narcissism. That means you can't sleep at night when you want to, but you fall asleep during the day suddenly. And in fact, his son said people thought he was drunk, but he rarely was. It was a condition. I saw him at an awards ceremony trying to read the thing, and it was difficult, and he was stumbling, but he made it sound funny and people laughed, but really he was struggling.
He wrote books and I'll say that again. He wrote books and lyrics for pantomime, as well as production numbers with Cyril Arnold. I'm sure I've read this before I came.
And he appeared on the 14th of April 1982 on Pebble Mill. That was his last appearance. And you could see he was struggling a bit there as well, but he died the day after on the 15th of April in the middle of the play. How sad, eh?
Yeah. I know that you get cross sometimes when people say to you, how much of you is there in the character that you're portraying, particularly with something like Mainwaring. You know, what do you say to those people that make you cross about that question?
Well, yeah, it's a strange thing, you see. But I believe that the less personality an actor has of his own, the better he is able to portray the characters that his job demands of him. I don't think you should be very clever for a start to be a good actor. I think you should be very intelligent. But once you start getting clever, then forget it, because it's not your job to be clever. Your job is to interpret what the man has written, just as a pianist's job is to interpret what his composer has written.
When he sadly died on the 15th of April 1982, it was right in the middle of a play with his wife Joan. And she said the show must go on. She carried on and completed it. And people were a little bit shocked by that, but that was the way she felt. And at the funeral, she didn't turn up because she was on tour with a theatre production. She didn't believe he was there anymore. His body was there, but not him. And she carried on. And that's just how she was. So that's how she felt. That's how she felt, isn't it? Of course. Arthur Lowe was born on the 22nd of September 1915 in Hayfield, Derbyshire, the only child of Arthur Lowe and his wife Nan. Lowe's father was a tall man known as Big Arthur, and he worked for the Great Central Railway. The family rented a house in a Manchester suburb where Little Arthur, as he was known, attended Chapel Street School. Arthur's intention was to join the Merchant Navy, but was thwarted by his poor eyesight. His first job after leaving school was as a barrow boy for the Manchester branch of the motor accessory company Brown Brothers. In February 1939, Arthur joined the Territorial Army, which meant several months later he was among the first men to be called up to serve in the Second World War. During this time, Arthur began a romantic relationship with Joan Cooper, a married actress in the company whose husband also began an affair at about the same time. Arthur and Joan were engaged in June 1946 and lived together from August. After Joan's divorce came through, they married at a register office in Robert Adams Street, The Strand, London, on the 10th of January 1948. Joan had a son, David Gatehouse, from her first marriage. Another son, Stephen Lowe, was born on the 21st of January 1953. Arthur began acting professionally in England in 1945 after army service in the Second World War. He worked in theatre, film and television throughout the 1950s, but it was not until he landed the part of Leonard Swindley in the television soap Coronation Street in 1960 that he came to national attention. He played the character until 1965 while continuing his theatre work and other acting work. In 1968 he took the role of Dad's Army, written by Jimmy Perry and David Croft. The profile he gained from this role led to further character roles. Despite increasingly poor health in his final years, he maintained a busy professional schedule until his death from a stroke on the 15th of April 1982, aged 66. Arthur was cremated and his ashes were scattered at Sutton Coldfield Crematorium following a small funeral, of which few people were notified and fewer than a dozen attended. A memorial service was held on the 24th of May 1982 at St Mary's in the Field, attended by Arthur's wife and family, former colleagues and many friends. Okay, we've got here now, this is it. This is the spot. It's very, very pretty, look. Lovely pond there. So we're moving into the area where Arthur's ashes were scattered. Now it's D1L. Now, some people say, pond's there, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Some people say that it is this area over here. So I am going to go for that being the spot. But Find a Grave also said that it's that tree there. But it's very close together. So I think we're going to say this is the spot where Arthur's ashes were scattered, and we'll remember him from this point on, I believe. But as I say, it was also said that tree there. But they are very close together, and I think it's the same area. Yeah, lovely little flowers, aren't they, the wildflowers? So Arthur, I can't pat the stone, but it's lovely to be here, and I'm sure everybody sends their wishes to you from the channel. And what I am going to do, I'm going to, for the sake of it, just in case, use the tree. So here we are. Let's move in, and it was said that this was the area as well. So Arthur, what a great actor you were. So many millions of people have watched you. So much happiness. It's a bit for the flower, and it's a real one for once. So I'm gonna spin this round, and we're gonna pop it down here in the ground as best we can. Oh, there we are. There we go. Let's have a look. Yes, it looks good. There, we've done our bit, haven't we? Lovely spot, look. Very nice. Also this area here, but as I say, I don't think anyone really knows now, but it's one of those two places. So there we are, that's the final resting place of Arthur Lowe. And he really did make millions of people happy. He was very good at his job, wasn't he? Very, very good comedy. And a real person, a very soft and romantic man. Very, very, very nice guy, you could tell that. His agent thought it was great. I watched a few films about him before I did this, of course, like I usually do. Let's have a quick look at the pond. Pond's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, look. Very nice. Thank you, Arthur. What a lovely man in real life, and a great comedy actor, brought a great deal of pleasure to a lot of people. So don't forget to subscribe, it's free, and ding the bell. And of course, give me a comment, because you know I love the comments, don't you? I try and answer everybody. I really do. So I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Take care. It's just about to rain, so I'm lucky. We're just finishing. See you all soon on Motorhome Beep Beep. Bye from me, Alan.